Hello everyone. I would like to now be reading 10 minutes of 2,000 insults for any occasion. I have no idea what year this was made. I'm not quite sure what year it is right now. But I can guarantee 100% this is going to be the worst book I've ever read. I mean, sorry it's a little bit torn up. I mean, I did find it in like a back alley, so. Alright. Let's go to, of course, the introduction. We're going to find out what kind of, insults we're having, what we're hearing about. I'm going to skip that. Big heads. People with big heads. We're going to insult them. Alright. He has gone the way of all flash. He has gone the way of all flash. His head is getting too big for his toupee. His egotism is a plain case of mistaken nonentity. So these are people with egos, obviously, if you weren't sure. Every time he opens his mouth, he puts his feet on. He doesn't want anyone to make a fuss over him, just to treat him as they would another great man. He's a real big gun, of a small caliber and immense bore. I can't read. I'm sorry. Whoops, I'm ripping. Oh dear. He'd need a hole in the ground to shrink his normal proportions. Someone should press the down button on his elevator shoes. If he had his life to live over again, he would still fall in love with himself. I would, in fact, do that. My friends tell me that all the time. Excuse me. Allergies. I apologize. He thinks it's his halo, but it's only a swelled head. If his halo falls one more inch, it will be a noose. He's so big-headed, he can't get an aspirin to fit him. Moving on to page 2. He's a fellow with big eyes who doesn't think of you. When he meets another egotist, it's an eye for an eye. He's a celebrity, spelled swelebrity. Is this still recording? Okay, good to know. He's a self-made man who looks more like a warning than an example. Would have done better if he had let out the contract. What?
Okay.
I'm an American. I don't get this. He's a self-made man who has no rivals and love with himself. Would rather have been better off if he hadn't made it at all. Should have consulted an expert. Adores his maker. Is the worst example of an unskilled laborer you've ever seen. Makes you wonder why he wanted to make himself up. Insist on giving everybody the recipe. Should never have quit the job before it was finished. Has relieved the Lord of a big responsibility. Would have been better off if he hadn't fooled around with those do-it-yourself fads. Believes in himself. Some people are too easily convinced. Apparently knocked off work too soon. Never should have hired such cheap labor. Makes you wonder whether he's boasting or apologizing. He claims to be the architect of his own success. It's lucky the building inspectors didn't come around during the construction. From the time he began to be a self-made man, it was the beginning of a lifelong romance. He was a self-made man whose wife was the power behind the germ. He wouldn't have done such a good job as a self-made man if his wife hadn't made a few alterations, he wouldn't have done such a good job as a self-made man if his wife hadn't made a few alterations. I'm sorry I just read that again, but I lost track because there was an interruption. I apologize. His claim that he's self-made reassures the relief of consciousness of the rest of... I can't do that. His claim that he's self-made sure relieves the coincidence of the rest of the world.
I don't even know where it is in the Superman.
You'd make a fortune if you could buy him for what you think of him and sell him for what he thinks of himself. On his last birthday, he sent his parents a telegram of congratulations. A glazed look comes into his eyes when the conversation drifts away from him. He thinks he can push himself forward by patting himself on the back. His head is so big, they have to pin his ears back to get through to him. Grand Central Station. I can't believe myself. His swelled head is just nature's frenzied effort to fill a vacuum. He's a small country, bounded on the south, north, east, and west by himself. He's so egotistical, when he hears thunder, he takes a bow. His conceit, C-O-N-C-E-I-P, I think it's conceit, but, you know.
Let me see.
I'm not sure.
Hold on, we'll be back. So let's
What?
let's get started. Which joke is it? I'm still recording, by the way. Connaissance.
Conceit.
I don't know.
Anyway, let us finish this amazing joke. I appear to have lost my place. I apologize. His conceit is a gift of Providence to a little man. Take the air out of that little wheel and all you have left is a flat tire. He's blown his horn so loud, he hasn't anyone left for climbing. He is high-hatting everyone on the way up. He is liable to meet them on the way down. One of these days, he'll learn that it's only a matter of 18 inches between a pat on the back and a kick to the pants. Isn't that true, Jack? I mean, my lovely assistant / cameraman. Wait, there's one more. two. On page 6. If he ever gets to heaven, he'll find the front seats occupied by fellows who weren't such big shots down there. As a swelled up comer, he sure is a goner. Goner? I can't read. Alright. Page 7. Birthdays. She's a demure type. Jummier, she gets older. Dummier, she gets older. She looks like $1 million after taxes. There'll be no candles on her birthday cake. She's in no mood to make light of her age. I'm assuming this means, they get worse as they get older, but they keep trying to hide the fact that they're getting older. I'm assuming, of course. I don't know. I don't know the author's intention about writing this. I don't know the author's opinions on birthdays or age while writing this. I truly apologize. She never forgets her age once she's decided what's going to be. You see, in that joke, do you see the joke is in that one? That, she's lying about her age. To seem younger. It's very lovely. She's discovered the secret of perpetual youth. She lies about her age. See, that's very blunt right there, you know? It's very blunt. If she put the right number of candles on her birthday cake, it would be a fire hazard. Wow. Hoity-toity. She may be hoity, but she'll never see toity again. Wow. Her husband is pleading with her to have birthdays again. He doesn't want to grow old alone. The best years of her life were the 10 years between 29 and 30. I suppose they were. She's been pressing 30 so long, it's pleaded. Her age ranges from 30 to secrecy. I appear to have ripped the page. Oh dear. She could add years to her life by simply telling the truth. She claims her age is her own business. Poor thing, she's practically out of business. She reckons her age by light years. She's sure light a few years. When the census taker asked her how old she was, she couldn't remember whether it was 42 or 43, so she said 40. So she said 35. She hasn't lost the years she subtracted from her age. She's just added them to the ages of her sister-in-law. Birthdays are occasions of her child. Birthdays are occasions that her child deserves. Her husband observes, and she preserves. What a sweet form of alliteration. Birthdays are anniversaries on which her husband takes a day off, and she takes a year off. These are so bad. I really want to die. She's very loyal. Years ago, she reached an age she liked, and she has stuck to it. When it comes to telling her age, she's shy. About 10 years shy. That's right. I know who you are, Sharon. You can't hide from the truth. At 21, she was chosen Miss America. In those days, there were very few Americans. She won't put the right number of candles on her birthday cake. It wouldn't be a birthday party, it would be a torchlight procession. She's not what she was 15 years ago. She's 9 years older. In her opinion, the 7 ages of a woman are baby, infant, junior miss, young woman, young woman, young woman, and young woman. She's aged more than her husband, but less often. As long as she's capable of juggling figures, she'll never be old. She uses countdown method of calculating age. Now, I know I initially said this video would only be 10 minutes, but since there's only roughly 1 page left of birthdays, sorry, 2 pages, I figured that I would instead just finish out the page, and then we can move on to boozers in our next installment. I lost track of where I was. Oh yeah, as long as she's capable of juggling figures, she'll never be old. She uses the countdown method of calculating age. Impressive. She's a nice age, 35. Especially since she happens to be 43. She has a twin brother. She is a twin brother who is practically identical, except for one minor detail. He's 49 and she's 30. Whoa. Those are some really hip twins. Her husband is a diplomat. He remembers her birthday and forgets her age. Whenever she hesitated to state her age on the witness stand, the judge said, "Hurry, madam, every minute makes it worse." She's celebrating the 10th anniversary of her 39th birthday. She looks like a million every year of it. She doesn't object to men who kiss and tell. In fact, at her age, she needs all the publicity she can get. I apologize for that cut there. There appears to have been an oopsie downstairs. I didn't do it. The only time she ever gave her right age was on safari, whenever she was captured by a fussy cannibal who never ate anyone past 40. She's in her early 30s. She knows how to hang on to her youth. She never introduces him to another woman. She finally admitted she was 40, though she didn't say when. 40 has been the most difficult age for her to pass. It's taken her 8 years. Wow. Fascinating. She's living it up, saying, "You're only young once." It's time she thought up some other excuse. Page 10, the last page we'll be reading today. She was 18 and her husband 30 when they met. Now he's 60, so she figures since he's twice as old as he was when they met, then she must be 36. She's afraid to grow old, but at 40 she really needs to have no fear of it. She'll outgrow it in 15 years from now, when she's 48. Her hardest decision is when to start the middle age. Now, I'm going to stop us right there, but I'm going to finish the page. I'm going to finish the page, I promise. But I'd just like to point out that one thing I've noticed throughout this story is that it's all in the past tense, as in we're talking to someone else about these people. So, to this story, we're talking about people behind their back, which I don't believe is right, okay? So I'm going to have to discredit the author for being so rude to some of the people he knows. Anyway, back to the story. She wouldn't be trying so hard to conceal her age if her husband would act his. Wow. Her once dangerous curves have become extended detours. She has stopped exercising. Pushing 50 is enough exercise for her. She's at the age where any man who looks back looks good. Kinky. Old blondes never fade. Like her, they just die away. Oh my god. She worried so much about growing old, she grew blonde overnight. She knew the Big Dipper when it was just a drinking cup. She knew Heinz when it only had 7 varieties. She knew Howard Johnson when he only had 2 flavors. She doesn't have an enemy in the world. She's outlived them. She's just gotten a prospectus from an old-aged home, marked urgent. That is all we will be reading today. In future installments, we will be reading from page 11 to 20, and I do thank you all for watching. It has been such a fun ride to read the first 10 pages of this book. I can guarantee that I will never want to read this again. I salute all of you who made it through this, like the whole 2 of you. I'm proud. Anyway, please don't like this, and don't subscribe. I'm never doing this again. Anyway, I'll see you another day. Goodbye.